Jayden Daniels is the future for the Washington Commanders, but only if they do it the right way, man. We definitely, I know I at least don't want to see another RG3 situation, which just so happened to be maybe about 12 years ago. That was 2012, man. I'm not trying to see another RG3 situation. However, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not too sure how much success Jayden's gonna have early, specifically because of that O line. But in today's video, I did want to talk about just the scouting report for Jayden McDaniels as well. Oh, I said McDaniels. I'm thinking of basketball. I wanted to talk about the scouting report for Jayden Daniels as well as other prospects, specifically Sennett and McCaffrey, the two other offensive players they drafted, as well as just the Washington Commanders' outlook going forward, more specifically their free agency class. And yeah, I think there's a specific play I wanted to talk about as well when it comes to Jayden. But overall, coming out, I definitely was a Jayden believer. Now, personally, I thought Drake May should have been drafted over Jayden, but I didn't hate the Commanders picking Jayden. Obviously, a whole lot of running potential. I mean, you can just watch a couple clips of Jayden and know, like, that boy is explosive when he's running that ball. Listen here, no mistake about it. That boy is explosive. Arm talent is evident, right? And this, I'm reading off the scouting report. Good arm strength. Velocity could be better. Personally, I think he has enough arm strength to get it done. Some scouts disagree. I'm not too sure about that. I mean, the man's deep ball is pretty good. Fundamentally sound footwork and follow through and escapability. So once again, Jayden McDaniels definitely has all the physical traits. I feel like it's more so going to be the mental part of the game is going to determine his success, as well as, like I said, the O-line. Now, his negatives was that he was a one-season wonder because he did spend 5 years in college. He definitely started at Arizona State, didn't really have as much success, transferred over, wasn't as good the first year, and then the last year he wins the Heisman. So that's a valid critique, right? And one of my bigger ones, which I'm going to talk about later in the video, is definitely avoiding hits. Jayden's not the biggest guy. I think that's pretty obvious. You can just look at him and tell he's not the biggest guy, but I do think he'll get better at it, right? Pocket presence is a work in progress. There's definitely a few clips where he takes sacks and you didn't really expect him to take said sack because you would have thought he would have like at least tried to scramble, but he was just unaware of the defender coming into his space. So that's also fairly, you feel me, a fair critique, as well as his processing. His processing could be faster. Another critique that I feel is pretty fair with, I mean, pretty much all quarterbacks. That's not really, you know what I'm saying? You ain't saying nothing groundbreaking with that one. So, I mean, I feel like Jayden's scouting report is pretty clear and thorough, but honestly, I do expect him to be pretty good coming out. But like I said, it depends on the offensive line because I feel like the Commanders could have done more to help him because most of their main free agent signings was Zach Ertz, the center from Dallas. I'm not even gonna try to like butcher his last name, Tyler. You know what I'm talking about. They signed Frankie Louvu from the Panthers as well as Jeremy Chin. Dante Fowler was a decent pickup as well as Cleveland Farrell. That's like a low risk, high reward. Former number 4 overall pick. I can see the logic. And they also signed Bobby Wagner. Austin Eckler is going to be interesting to see. So the Commanders definitely tried to make moves to improve this team, but I felt like they kind of ignored offensive line, which is their biggest issue. So I'm definitely scared for Jayden because, like I said earlier about his scouting report, he definitely needs to avoid hits. And in particular, I am definitely talking about a play like this because on this particular play, right? Listen, if you watch football, you've seen this play, right? Now, my issue isn't him trying to get extra yards. I get it. Try to get extra yards, blah, blah, blah. My issue is you're not going to be able to do this at the next level, Jayden. Jayden, at this very moment, you should have been sliding. I'm going to be honest. You should have been sliding. Instead, you kept going, and then, yeah. So, Jayden, with all due respect, you're not the biggest guy. I'm gonna need you to slide, big fella. I'm actually trying to see you play. We're not trying to have another Anthony Richardson situation where you had to sit a whole year because you got an injury within the first 5 games. You wasn't sliding. You know what I mean? He definitely has to work on that. And as I said, I did want to talk about the other talents that they drafted on the offensive side of the ball. Sennett is supposed to be, at least his scouting report, because I'm gonna be honest, I knew of him, but I didn't know much about him as a prospect. Supposed to be a quicker athlete for a tight end, effective in the slot, as well as a solid blocker. So I mean, pretty much sounds like, you feel me, he's kind of gonna be maybe like a Kelsey-esque tight end, more of a receiving tight end than he is a blocker, because one of his negatives is that he can be overpowered by bigger defensive ends. He struggled to beat press coverage. Shorter arms hurt him on contested catches, and his hands could be better. So I'm just off scouting report now, because like I said, I didn't really do too much looking into it, but just off scouting report, I mean, I think it's a solid pick, considering I want to say he was a 3rd rounder. So not the worst pick ever, but like I said, I think I would have rather them draft the O-line than a tight end. That's an interesting pick. I mean, you already got McLaurin. Dotson's going to take a leap, hopefully. And then you turn around and draft Luke McCaffrey, which a pick I did like, right? Scouting report. Natural athlete, good concentration and strength on contested catches. He had 17 contested catches, which was tied for 2nd in the country, which I thought was crazy. That's actually kind of wild. Subtle route runner. However, he lacks long speed needed to create space against press. Good athlete, but lacks difference-making explosiveness to win off purely athleticism. So maybe not the greatest athlete in terms of long speed, but for somebody that transitioned from receiver, he got smooth feet and he's subtle in his routes. So once again, I'm looking forward to seeing how he pans out. But as far as it goes with Jayden, man, I am very excited to see how the season pans out. If you ask me, I think Washington does have their franchise quarterback, and hopefully they do right by him, man. I really don't want another RG3 situation. Hopefully he avoids injury, stays healthy, and man, I'm looking forward to the season.